Okay, we will now reconvene into open session. The time is now 7:16, and I would just like to note, right before we went into closed session, Miss Christy Hassett joined us. Okay, we're kind of starting something new, which I'd like to thank Mr. Greenwell for introducing this to us, but we're going to have our elementary students start doing our pledges. So I'd like to welcome Liberty Elementary to come do our pledges for today.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Winston Morris, Vice President of Finance.
Vishnu Prasad, Vice President of Service.
Kendall Lee, Vice President of Pride.
Arjun Patel, Vice President of Issues.
Kaylee Callum, President.
Odin Martin.
Jackson Mesh.
Brody Robertson.
Emily Loveland.
Charlotte Lilly.
Amrita Rajnair.
Hasni Sunkvali.
Sophie Glazer.
Nicolette Metzger.
Nicholas Teixeira.
Finn McLean.
Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, Liberty students. Y'all did an amazing job and set the tone for now all the elementary schools to come. Thank you. Okay, I want to welcome everybody to the meeting tonight. The meetings of the board are open to the public but are not meetings of the public. The Lewisville ISD Board of Trustees meets monthly in a regular meeting to receive reports from staff and take action on recommendations from the superintendent. The board receives the agenda and all supporting documentation approximately 10 days in advance of regular meetings, which allows us to ask and receive answers to many of our questions in advance of the regular meetings. This change of protocol means lengthy discussion or a litany of questions on every agenda item of the agenda often is not necessary. And as a board, we should have appropriate knowledge and preparation for responses regarding the content of our meeting tonight. So also please note that action item J7, the consideration modification of board operating procedures presenting the national conference, has been pulled from this month's agenda. The items will be discussed at our April board operating procedures workshop. Okay, consider action on items discussed in closed session. Somebody like to make a motion?
Madam President, I move that all personnel recommendations be approved as presented by administration.
A motion by Ms. Tinamish. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Hassett. All in favor? 7-0. Motion carries. Next item is appointment of Deputy Superintendent. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I move to approve the appointment of Dr.
Hassett.
Lori Rapp as Deputy Superintendent as presented by administration.
We have a motion by Ms. Hassett, second by Ms. Timish. Any discussion? All in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Ms. Rapp. Dr. Rapp. Congratulations, Dr. Rapp. Okay. All right, we now to any recognitions.
We have a video.
We have a video.
So.
Yes, I would be happy to introduce the video. This month, instead of recognition specifically, what we're introducing is this idea of student spotlights. And on the heels of our great CTE video and presentation by Adrian Moreno, we're pleased to have a spotlight that Communications has worked on regarding student internships in our school district. So with no further ado, we'll roll that video.
I'm Daniel No. I go to Flower Mound High School. I'm a senior. A year ago, I took woodworking in Dale Jackson Career Center. I took an internship recently at a company called PIN in Irving, Texas. It was a paid internship, too. I went in there, and PIN is a company that makes cabinetry and fixtures for companies such as UPS, Ross, and such. I'm glad that I was given the chance to go through that internship, and it's given me the experience that I've wanted. And it's hard work, but it's really enjoyable, and I'd recommend it to anyone.
My name's Kyle King. I've been here for 3 years. I've been coming to Dale Jackson for woodworking. Last year, I landed an internship over the summer. Now I know the kind of things that like manufacturings would want out of me, especially like what I would do, what I would be part of, and all that stuff. I'm really grateful for Dale Jackson because, I mean, without Dale Jackson, I wouldn't have gotten that internship. Not a lot of kids get to find the right career, and coming here allowed me to find what I really wanted to do and find woodworking, which was eventually, hopefully, going to be my future.
My name is Isaac Southwell. I'm a 12th grade student at LHS. I've been doing computer maintenance for 2 years. I started as a sophomore. After I finished my computer maintenance class, I wanted to talk to my teacher a little bit more about it. He responded back and said he had an opportunity for me. There was an internship opening up for LASD. It involves iPad repair and just general technology. It gave me a chance to get real-world experience working directly with devices outside of just that classroom. After I took computer maintenance, it really gave me that path to follow. I love working with technology, and I wasn't sure beforehand, and I think the Career Centers really helped line me up for out of high school.
My name is Hunter Hanna. I go to Marcus High School. I'm currently studying Practicum and Information Technology at Dale Jackson Career Center. I've been studying computer maintenance at Dale Jackson for the past 2 years. I was very passionate about it. My teacher recognized that and recommended me to go work at the Boland Administrative Center with the technology department. With that, I've been able to get hands-on experience in that field, working with Apple Mac products. We've had various other things. We've had projectors we've had to repair, iPads, a lot of iPads. With the paid internship, I was able to get a lot of hands-on experience and know that this is what I want to do in the future, that I really enjoy this, and I want to go on and study this in college. I'm very thankful for the opportunities the district has given me with this course and the paid internship. It has allowed me to know that this is what I want to pursue in the future and given me an outlet to actually experience what it's like.
My name is Eric Bram. I'm a senior at Hebron High School. I've been studying architecture at the Career Center for 3 years and 1 year at Hebron High School. This summer I managed to get an internship with Welch Architecture downtown. Yeah, so far the internship's been pretty fun. You know, I've had opportunities, that I wouldn't normally have here. Yeah, taking this class here really helped get that internship. Showing that I had experience doing architecture, I had that portfolio. I'm certified in a couple different programs that really gave more trust in me that I knew what I was doing. I'm applying to colleges right now, Rice, Cal Poly, all those, and I plan on majoring in architecture. The whole Career Center thing is kind of affirmed, that this is what I want to do. It's been great to have that intern experience because, I can put that on my resume. And coming out of college, it'll look great too,
Okay, well, we don't have any speakers tonight, but we do have an update from the LISD Council of PTAs, Ms. Lauren Johnson.
Good evening. I am Lauren Johnson, and I am the president of the Council of PTAs for Lewisville ISD. LASD Council of PTAs values the partnership between the superintendent, board of trustees, community, and PTA, and we count on your continued support. I want to give you a brief update this evening on important work that is occurring to ensure a strong PTA presence is in this district. I am providing this report to you in writing, but I'm just going to go over a few of the highlights. Lewisville ISD Council of PTAs provides support, training, and encouragement for the 60 local PTAs of LISD. We are the 8th largest council in the state in terms of individual members. We currently have 13,250 members. And the largest district, Katy ISD, has 19,053. We are confident that Lewisville ISD can reach similar numbers and possibly become the largest council in the state. And if you look on enrollment numbers, we're not that far down, so it is totally possible. Okay. But we need the support of everyone, administrators, trustees, and community members, as well as our parents, teachers, and students. Many of our PTAs offer membership via joinpta.org, which makes it easy to join. We are asking you all first to join a PTA, and second, while you're out in the community, please support us by asking others to become part of PTA, which in turn supports the district. We want to share some impressive recognitions from Texas PTA and National PTA that we have received the past few months. At the state level, Texas PTA recognized Donald Principal Michelle Wooten as the Outstanding Elementary Principal of the Year for Texas PTA. She received the award and spoke at launch, the state PTA convention in July. This award is based on her support of PTA programs, parent education, family engagement, and advocacy efforts. In the PTA Reflections program, Heritage Elementary School student Dylan James Shaw received the overall award of excellence at the state level and then the award of excellence at the national level for his entry. He competed in the Special Artist Division with his original music composition, a blues piece for piano called My Joy Song. And I should note that this division encompasses all grade levels, and Dylan James was a 4th grader. His piece became part of a traveling gallery and will be on display at the Department of Education in Washington, D.C. And National PTA included his picture and a quote from his mom in their national magazine. And that's the page from the magazine. Also at the national level, Donald Elementary School was among 143 schools in the nation this year to be named a School of Excellence by the National PTA for 2017 through 2019. Liberty Elementary School has also gotten this designation for 2016 through 2018. The application for this award includes setting a goal and working to achieve it over the course of a year. Donald's application involved getting more men involved through a volunteer program, and Liberty's application involved increasing cultural diversity programming at the school. We have been encouraging PTAs across our district to apply to become a National PTA School of Excellence for the 2018-2020 session. We are looking forward to another successful year. Our theme this year is making connections. We feel that connections are crucial in the success of PTAs, and so we are creating ways for local PTAs to connect with us, with one another, and with a wider community. For example, we are providing networking and social time after every meeting and at our monthly council chat sessions, and we invited Booster Club officers to attend our training sessions. Our new Rising Stars Academy, I got to skip ahead. I missed one. Okay. Our new Rising Stars Academy brings together emerging leaders from across the district to learn from us, from other PTAs, and from community leaders. The program was inspired by Inside LASD. program, and it is sponsored by the Mathnasium of the Colony. We meet monthly at schools across the district, and at each meeting, the host PTA will give us an overview of their PTA. A community leader discusses their approach to leadership, and council presents a topic that is relevant to PTA leaders. Over the course of the year, our rising stars see various ways for a PTA to be successful and various ways for individual leaders to be successful, and they gain useful knowledge about PTA. And of course, the connections they make are invaluable. Another new program this year is Teen Talk, a series of 4 family and teen workshops to help parents and teens address academic stress, teen and parent relationships, and building resilience. The theme of our first session was inner wisdom and self-care, and the theme of our next session planned for December 2nd is I messed up, now what? It is a free program, and it is open to both teens and their parents. Our partners, professionals in the community who are concerned about teens, present these topics through presentations, panel discussions, and breakout sessions. Also this year, we have a new committee called the Exceptional Students Education Committee. This committee serves the educational needs of a broad spectrum of students with any special need, diagnosis, or learning difference, not just those served under LASD special education and including gifted learners. We continue to provide a wide range of programs and services, including our Dress to Learn clothing closet, which provides school clothing and shoes to students in need throughout the district. Our student scholarships that are largely funded through our Bowling for Scholars event, which will be held February 10th, and our environmental programs and ongoing trainings and communications. We urge you to join a PTA, or more than one, this year, and encourage all faculty members to do the same. Texas PTA gives a Council Golden Apple Award when 100% of district-level administrators and school board of trustees are members of a local PTA, and a Golden Apple Award to each campus when 100% of their faculty joins PTA. We will continue to work with the district on ways to promote leadership at campuses throughout LASD. There is new excitement about being involved in the PTA. We look forward to another year of working together for the good of what's most important, our students. Please know we are here to support your efforts, and do not hesitate to call on the PTA whenever we can help. Thank you for your time. Do I have any questions?
Anyone have any questions for Lauren? Thank you for all that you do for our schools. We appreciate the PTA very much.
Here.
Okay, kids, thank you for staying because this is a great presentation you don't want to miss. And then I know y'all need to get home and maybe eat dinner or do your homework and get ready for bed for a start tomorrow. So tonight, it's a great privilege to recognize our principals. Governor Abbott has actually declared this month Principal Month, and we'd like for all of our principals to please come forward. These folks represent great leadership on our campuses and help watch our children each and every day. And I'm going to have our board secretary, Catherine Sells, actually read the resolution.
From the State of Texas Office of the Governor, as school leaders, principals are entrusted with our most valuable resource, our next generation of leaders. These students are our promise for the future, and it is critical that they receive a rigorous and well-rounded education. Through the work of First Lady Cecilia Abbott, a former teacher, vice principal, and principal, I've seen firsthand how principals are more than just caretakers of their schools. Principals are expected to be educational leaders, disciplinarians, community builders, spokesmen, budget analysts, and guardians of policy mandates and initiatives. Principals set the academic tone for their schools and work collaboratively Okay, that was wrong. With teachers to set performance objectives and maintain high curriculum standards. Each year, organizations nationwide designate the month of October as a time to recognize the contributions of elementary, middle, and high school principals. At this time, I encourage all Texans to acknowledge the important role principals play in ensuring that every child has access to a high-quality education. Therefore, I, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, do hereby proclaim October 2017 to be Principals Month in Texas and urge the appropriate recognition whereof. In official recognition whereof, I hereby affix my signature this 12th day of September 2017. Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas.
Thank you very much. We appreciate all you do. I forgot to have earlier, so I apologize, Lauren, but if you're on the PTA, would you please stand and be recognized? If you're here on a council or serving on the PTA, please stand and be recognized. Okay, now we're going to have the Student Health Advisory Council called SHAC. We're going to have our annual report by Dr. Coburn.
Thank you, Madam President. Members of the board, I will throw that right over to these three ladies here to give you that annual report.
Good evening, board members. We're here for the annual. On now? Yes.
There you go. Good job.
Good evening, board members. Dr. Rogers. We are here to present the annual report for the 2016-17 School Health Advisory Council. And I am Robin Fry, the PE coordinator for the district, Health and PE. We have Miss Melanie Vincelette, the Director of Health Services, and Monya Crow, Director of Guidance and Counseling. And according to Chapter 26 of the Texas Education Code, SHACs were developed to ensure community values are being represented in our district's health ed programs.
Good evening. The Council supports the district's guiding principles outlined in the 4 cornerstones through the following I statements. I ensure learning is based on defined standards. We follow district guidelines and TEKS requirements when we're reviewing protocols, curriculum, and different programs. I communicate with all stakeholders to understand diverse perspectives. We are so lucky here. We have such a culturally diverse team with 30 members that volunteer throughout this district. They're from all different areas, all different feeder patterns, and all different grade levels. I have a mind for practicing efficient use of resources. We do very well with this one. There's been very few occasions where we have tapped the district to pay for anything. Matter of fact, it's the reverse for us. We have had sponsored programs and initiatives where we have been benefited from grants and have had items donated to us that supply our clinics and our campuses with different items that just support the health initiatives. I engage in work that directly and indirectly creates a positive experience for learners. And this is a little bit of a tough one because it is hard for us to be out in front, so we're more a little bit indirect. Whether it's reviewing vending machine protocols, nutritional guidelines, employee wellness, or just talking about things that are meaningful in our community, we kind of have a backseat to that. But I want you to know that our council learns a lot just by joining. They learn of all the resources that public education has and some of the red tape that we have to go through. So every member that leaves us has learned something, and we do have a lot that leave sometimes, unfortunately. So this year's initiatives, we had some new ones: student mental health, review of the district wellness plan, and Red Ribbon Week. Childhood obesity remains on our topic because, for obvious reasons that you've seen in the press, and there's a lot of passion on the council for that topic. Monya Crow handled student health, student mental illness, well, not mental illness, student mental health, and she's going to take over.
Good evening. We had the privilege of bringing this topic to SHAC, and it was exciting as we started with going over our current resources. LISD has been very innovative in its support of a district counseling center that is free to all of our students and families, and so that was something that a lot of our SHAC members learned about for the first time and was exciting to share. We also shared with them about our Whole Child series, which is a series of parent ed events from traditional parent evening events to what we're moving to now, which is also digital platforms, where we can give parents feedback and tips on things that they may need help with when it comes to conversations with their kiddos. We did review a documentary called Screenagers, which has to do with the impact that screen time and digital access has on our students, and SHAC was overwhelmingly supportive of that being a resource that we could make available within our district to our campuses. Then we also had feedback from the members on what they wanted to see more of, and there was a rich need for, again, those parent resources. So we have our counseling department putting together some resources in collaboration with other departments so that parents feel like that we are much larger resources. They turn to us to get help for working with their kiddos.
And for our district wellness plan, we update that every year per the USDA guidelines and the Healthy Hunger Kid Free Act of 2010. This past year, we established some goals. For instance, we're going to use the FitnessGram data for our BMI. We're going to look at that for over the years and talk about childhood obesity with that data. We can look at Go Noodle. I get a monthly report from Go Noodle and see which teachers are using those for brain breaks in the classroom on all levels, elementary and secondary. And we also wanted to look at our Field Up to Play 60 wellness investigation that we do. The kids have to complete as part of one of their 6 steps for a Field Up to Play 60. And then, of course, Child Nutrition complete some surveys. They send out surveys for the staff and parents. And we'll use that data. And we also created a checkpoint for compliance this year. Specifically, we are collecting the 6 non-exempt non-smart snack school days exempt food fundraiser for non-exempt smart snacks, and we're collecting that, and they must turn that into child nutrition prior to the 6 dates that they have. And I just wanted to say that with the wellness plan and everything, we added Micah Brassfield to our committee this year because it talks mostly about child nutrition and, of course, the PE program.
I'm excited to talk about this one. We had a lot of work and a lot of people that went into making Red Ribbon Campaign a new tradition for LISD. So what we did in SHAC is we certainly reviewed our current practices. A lot of that centered around the traditions that come with Red Ribbon Week. And so what we did is we got their feedback, and a lot of it centered on wanting richer material for our students. And so in expanding Red Ribbon Week to Red Ribbon Campaign, all of our students in K through 12 now receive lessons during the month of October in areas such as goal setting, resistance skills, the science behind the impact of drugs on the brain, and coping and resilience. In addition to that, we've added the community engagement piece as well, and I'm going to show you here in parent engagement as well. These are the phenomenal materials that in collaboration with counseling department and communications we have added to the mix. So the posters, we asked all of our schools to hang those prominently in their front office, and in addition to reach out to their community partners and garner support to have those posted in various businesses around the community. We also have a car tag that goes on the rearview mirror, and I can tell you, even my own kindergartner got in the car last week and said, "Hang this on the mirror and ask me questions." So it's serving a great purpose. It's starting those conversations that we want parents to have with their kids. In addition to that, we have parent literature with a dedicated space on the LIC website for parents to go to when they want a little bit more of a guidance piece on what to do if they have concerns or have questions.
As I mentioned earlier, childhood obesity remains a pretty big passionate topic at the SHAC. 1 in 5 school-age children are obese, and that comes with other comorbids, other medical conditions, and in result they end up missing a lot more school. We have programs that we've been supporting, and we continue to research and look at the data as well as look at programs that may benefit our students. And Robin's going to give you a recap of where we stand with that.
So 2 of the programs that we continue to monitor and review are the 21-Day Challenge and the Field Up to Play 60 program. And the 21-Day Challenge, last year was the 3rd year for the program, promoting healthy snacks in collaboration with Medical City Children's Hospital and then our community partner, Medical City Lewisville. And I'm proud to say that we were the #1 district out of 14 districts, and student participation with this. And of course, we had the #1 school out of 448 campuses that participated with Jay Ingram, the PE teacher out at Etheridge, and we're very proud of him at 86% of his students last year. Stay tuned for this year. He's not going to let anybody beat him this time. I love this program because it encompasses not only the elementary students, it involves the Colony High School culinary program as well as the graphic design class at CCE for the recipe book design. And we have been 100% participation, and that's expected because it is a district improvement plan goal. To fight that childhood, to educate kids about making healthy choices and childhood obesity. And I'm happy to say that Ms. Catherine Sells is on the advisory committee along with myself and some other great leaders. So I'm really pleased about that. And she's been a great advocate for the program. And then Fill to Play 60. This is in collaborative effort with NFL and Dairy Max to promote 60 minutes of daily exercise. And again, we have been 100% district implementation. We've won awards the last 3 years for all 40 K-5 campuses participating and getting their 6 steps completed. And of course, this is the program that brought in $140,000 of grants a couple years ago, and we are receiving a new grant this year as well. And we're just going to continue with this as a district improvement plan goal, and we're happy to say it's been very successful.
So later on tonight, you're going to have a consent item for our new members. We have 9 new community members that we're waiting for you to approve and 3 district members. Just so you know, we got over 40 applications this year for just 9 openings. So how the members are selected is we look at the entire district and try to make sure we have regional representation. We also look at school communities, and we look at interest and why they're there. So you can imagine that there's only 9 to fill. This year was a pretty competitive event. And our chairman, or chairperson, Dr. Martz, she was the one that went through the finalists and made the decision at the very end. So later on tonight, we hope to get your approval for that. Thank you very much.
Does anyone have any questions? Ms. Timish?
Thank you so much for this presentation. I really learned a lot. 2 questions. One, on the mental health, I really appreciate you gathering the resources for that as just a parent and community member. There's been times that's been needed. As you look to gather resources, will you have an eye towards the diversity of our district so that we're looking at resources for families so that travel time and distance doesn't become an issue?
Yes, I will tell you that having been at the campus before, I know that when I would point families in the direction of the mental health system, navigating it was very unfamiliar. So one of the charges that I've asked our counselors to participate in is that when a family needs a resource, we do not tell them to check with their insurance. It's kind of a running joke that they are not supposed to say that. We have garnered, through relationships we've built in the community, we have met every provider that's on our list, as well as what resources they offer, down to insurance and location and hours and specialty, so that we know we can reach out when that family is drowning and say, we have a family that's in need, can you provide them the resource? So it's definitely based on geography, but also a lot of other criteria that we hope is helpful.
Great, thank you. And then, did you have something?
Ms. Crow, why don't you tell them about the task force for Denton County, too, that you're on, because that's related to Ms. Timish's question.
Okay. So there is a group called the Denton County Behavioral Health Leadership Team, and it was incepted about 2 years ago, and it is led, undergirded by United Way of Denton County, Commissioner Mitchell, sitting judges, law enforcement, city council, mental health professionals, ISDs, and community nonprofits participate in, with the mission being that we will completely serve any mental health need in the community. And so we've parceled out that into work groups from child and family to veterans to homeless, so that we can make sure we are all collaborating with the same goal in mind. And so there's been quite a bit of work done in that area as well to increase the resources in our community, because we know that they're definitely underserved at this point.
Very much, because I did not realize that the children were included in that. I knew some of the other pieces with veterans. The second would be for the 21-day challenges, and as it relates to obesity. I love how we're pushing that into our students. I'm not as familiar as Ms. Sells is, are we encouraging our parents to participate so this continues beyond the 21 days at the home to hopefully start some traditions?
We have, and as for last year, yes, they were involved in that. This year they changed up the sign up just a little bit, and we encouraged our staff to sign up to be the role models day in, day out while the kids are snacking there. There are 15 entities that are involved in the 21-day challenge at work, and 2,400 participants in that, and right now LISD has over 850 of those folks. So we have had parents sign up in the past. They did not offer that this year, but but the first 2 years we did.
So this year parents are not able to do this alongside their student then? Is that, I'm understanding
Unless
that correctly?
they're a LISD employee, yes. Well, actually they were encouraged to go on if they could pick LISD as an entity if they wanted to. But no, we did it. We tried to do the role model through the teachers this year. But we have had some great success stories with parents. I mean, they've been featured on NBC5 that have done it with their children and maintained and lost lots of weight and really recognized that it was a healthy, life-changing event for them to start choosing healthy snacks, because that's 25% of your day right there, your calories and everything that you're doing with your snacking.
I appreciate that, because I think when we encourage that at home, I think that's where we're going to
Sure.
learn the best habits. So thank you.
And let me just interject that the parent has to sign up the child, and that is for legal reasons also, but Medical City and for the fidelity of the program and in the results that we get back, in that the parent is the one that has to sign up the child. So the parent's very aware of that program, and then they also have to re-sign in to take the end result assessment. And so they do try to involve them. We have to remember that this is it's a program by Medical City, and so as you can imagine that we have to follow under their constraints. And as they expand, we brought on how many new districts this year? 6?
I believe there's 4 to 6 more.
4 to 6 more districts this year. If you can imagine that multitude of students and involving even DISD this year, they had to scale back the program into what are they focusing on, and that focus is 21-day challenge for children in our schools. So,
perfect. Thank you.
Miller?
I think there are 4 key topics that as trustees, if we spoke about at every meeting only: student achievement, student safety, taxpayer accountability, and this. It would be enough. And it would include everything, right? So you guys come to us once a year. You get a great opportunity to sit here during the meeting, and hopefully you'll get to leave after this. But present on some great topics. And a very wise person that sits at the dais, and I won't say who she is, it said to me once that if a student is hungry, sick, tired, scared, or doesn't come to school, or perhaps they're at school but not present, we can't educate them, and therefore we can't graduate them. Right, Dr. Rapp? And this is an essential part of what we have to do. And even more so, it's a big responsibility that the community bears. And I know you all have a very difficult time, it's a juggling act to get the community involved. And also, when you get the community involved, you get to bear some scrutiny from the community. And one of those areas that I want to applaud you on this year, Ms. Crow, is Red Ribbon Week, right? So I went out and the efficacy of this is yet to be measured, right? So it's a process, but I went out and saw the video that was a really nice play on the sock debacle last year that went viral on Facebook about Red Ribbon Week and socks. So thank you for that. I think some of these tactics, I guess we'd call them, and techniques of communication and creating a conversation with families, and I'm not just saying parents because it's caregivers and community members, is essential. And so, and for a lot of us in this room, this is a very personal topic. And I know you principals that are still in the room know how personal it is to some of us, right? And how important it is. And you get parents who are not happy that we're spending time on it or that we're creating these conversations. But we're gonna just push through that like we do with everything and continue to make this an important topic. So thank you on that, and I appreciate all that you guys are doing. The mental health issues, the obesity, all these things are very, very difficult subjects. I mean, they're the latest documentaries in every venue, Netflix, Hulu, etc. But I do have one question. It's really for Dr. Coburn. What are smart snacks? I'm asking actually for Dr. Coburn, you all, what are smart snacks?
Smart snacks. Well, I have a flyer if you'd like to have the flyer. Smart snacks are those snacks that the first ingredients have to be fruits, vegetable, or a whole grain. So did I lose you already on that one? The whole grain rich product, and they have to have one of the first ingredients has to be fruit, vegetable, a dairy product, or a protein food. So, and that makes them smart. You're welcome.
I just have a quick question. Thank you all for what you do, and I'm very excited about Red Ribbon Week as well. But I was curious on the, what was it, the Field of Play 360? What were those grant funds used for?
It was split. $70,000 went to the PE program, and $70,000 went to the child nutrition. And part of our overall program was to promote brain breaks in the classroom through PE. So we ordered equipment and went to all 40 schools and encouraged the teachers to check out from the gym the things to take down to the classroom to promote brain breaks. And then child nutrition provided yogurt parfaits weekly as a selection in the cafeteria and as a choice, and that's what we use the money for. Because we have to have a healthy play and a healthy food choice or food selection on each campus, and they commit to that.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, Ms. Sheffield.
Don't run away. So as it pertains to Red Ribbon Week, because I know a lot of work went into this, and thank you for all of that. Have you had any feedback from campuses, parents, students, and I guess particularly at the secondary level, because I think, to me, the hardest place to perhaps continue making those inroads were at maybe even the high school level, and it was harder to. It seemed, even as my own children went through, that it was where do you find the time in the day to have all that? So what does that look like, and what's been some of the feedback that you've received?
One of the things that the committee did in getting information about what would appeal to students is letting them know that by the nature of being adults, we knew we were doing it wrong. And so what would they do if they were in our shoes? And so we got some buy-in that way and giving them voice. And so we had a lot of student input into what the lessons were going to look like. And then support from there has been really rich from our secondary principals, knowing that the lessons are pretty compacted, so we can get them done in 15 or 20 minutes. And so they were all really able to say, okay, we can carve out a little bit here and a little bit there. But also with the counseling department, that it was not just a 15-minute activity during the day. There's a whole wealth of things going on at the campus level as well that students are participating in and driving that's helped with a lot of that buy-in.
And so at the high school level, is that something that happens at second period and each teacher is responsible for delivering that message, or what?
So each grade level has 5 lessons through the first 3 weeks of October, and each campus was able to put those wherever it was going to be the best fit for them.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you very much. Okay, now class rank, Dr. Rapp.
I am not Dr. Rapp, but I will be presenting on class rank. I got a clicker. Thanks, Robert. Speaking of class rank, hello, students getting extra credit in the back for being at the meeting. Hello, improving your class ranks. We're so glad you're here. And actually, we got some student input on this, so it's timely that we've got some student. In fact, I think some of them were involved in the input there. We made a commitment to bring this to you in October as an information item, and I know we're going to be bringing it to you again as a workshop item next week, and really excited about that, to be able to get really in depth into the conversation on this. You will see again, this is all about our vision, our 4 cornerstones, and what we're all about. Our students enjoy thriving, productive lives in a future they create. And certainly we have always said and understand that our kids are more than a test score. They're more than a number in so many ways. And that is certainly a driver of what we do. You think about our I statements and creating an environment optimal for learning, creating safe environments to allow our students to take risks and learn from their mistakes, and intentionally teach classroom structures and routines, and differentiate instruction for all students. We understand that in student learning, that's a driver for us. And engaging in work that directly and indirectly creates positive experiences for learners. It seems like you just saw that just a moment ago. But it's about being positive and encouraging every day. And the reason we bring these slides to you with these pictures of our students is that we understand that our kids are about more than just a number. And the number is what we're talking about here, but we've made that clear. So to review again, we have gone a long time on this, and the fact that Dr. Rapp's name is on the agenda item shows that this crosses multiple aspects of our organization, and a whole lot of people have touched this in some way to try to bring you the best information that we possibly can, which is what we're doing tonight and what we'll try to do again next week at the board workshop. Started last year. Out of that work came the work that was done with the EIC local, the work that was done to kind of mitigate the grade point chasing that we talked about, and it was determined that we would bring this topic back to you this fall, which we are doing at this time. You will also recall that in that interim period, we have suppressed class rank for our students that are currently in the class of 2020 and 2021. So current freshmen and sophomores have not seen a class rank. Nor will they, nor do I understand have they necessarily missed it all that much. The follow-up on that, Curriculum and Programs Committee met in May to determine next steps. There were some things that group asked for back in May. A survey of the seniors, the class of 2017, to which we got over 1,000 responses. And when you asked seniors in May to do something, I was feeling pretty good about getting over 1,000 of them. We spoke specifically with Spring Branch ISD personnel. They have an opt-in, opt-out policy that is certainly cutting edge. And we said we would participate in a discussion with NTRC districts, which we did. The Curriculum and Programs Committee met again in September. Address those items once again, which is kind of what has led to where we are here today. We will tell you that our discussion with NTRC was certainly fruitful, certainly valuable and meaningful. We do have partners in NTRC that are moving toward a top 10% only, which is what is required by statute, as you'll recall. We do have some that are not at that point, and they're still ranking every student. Kind of leads us to our next steps. One of the things that the Curriculum and Programs Committee spoke very passionately about was the need for you as a Board of Trustees to establish some guiding principles to help lead to what is best for our students in terms of the implications of ranking all, ranking only some. And at the October 25th board workshop, certainly we will provide for you all of the information that you would need regarding the three options listed there. The current rank all, which is what we have done. Ranking only the top 10% is required by law. And then considering some other alternatives, including that opportunity for students to make a choice in reporting their class rank. That's what we've got for you at this point. Again, we've got a lot more in depth that we'll get for you in the board workshop next week.
Miller?
Thank you, Dr. Coburn. I won't be in the workshop next week, but I will submit some questions in advance. I'm going to make these comments because I hope that it stokes some community conversation. I fundamentally believe that we need to remove rank all as an option. I just feel strongly. But I am open-minded to the third bullet that you had, which is other options. In the board book, the information regarding the districts that are doing rank all and the districts who are either at or moving to 10% only, I'd be curious, the likes of Frisco and Plano and some of those that weren't listed there, if we could just see where some of those are. And just for the edification of the audience, I mean, Highland Park and South Lake and some of those schools only do 10%. 10% is required by law. It's a statutory requirement, so we won't get away from it. The intent here is to start to move away a little bit from GPA chasing and class rank and get colleges to look at our students and really put our money where our mouth is as it relates to not having students be about a number. And so the current system, to some degree, that is driven by the state and other considerations, does cause universities, and I think that the workshop we had, did we have a workshop a year ago on this topic at the Career Center? Was a very enlightening workshop that talked about how some universities are moving away from just looking at GPA and class rank, and I think that's the direction that we'd be interested in going. What that looks like, again, I want to be open-minded, but I clearly believe that moving away from rank all is the solution because of other considerations. So I just wanted to make that point, and hopefully it'll create some emails to us, and we'll get some other opinions from folks.
Else?
I just want to make sure that if we're listing other districts in those, that we distinguish those that are still in discussions about changing current policy, and I think that that may be why some of those are not listed. Am I correct?
Certainly. This is a topic that this meeting is happening throughout the state. Districts of all sizes, different demographics. This is a hot button issue for lots of people.
I have the privilege of sitting on this committee, and I will tell you I'm very excited for the remainder of the board to hear more in depth about that third option. I think it is an option that gives students choice, parents choice, and I'm all for that. I would agree with Mr. Miller. I'm not in favor of ranking all, but I'm looking forward to the discussion at the workshop. And I want to I appreciate the fact that Dr. Coburn listened at our meeting in May about what the curriculum committee wanted and went out and got it and brought back some great information. So I'm looking forward to the workshop.
Okay, I can't take credit for that. I mean, Monya Crow and her team have done amazing work, and Dr. Rapp and her team have done amazing work. So I appreciate that, Ms. Prosnick, but it's a huge team effort to bring this information to you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Coburn.
Well, and let me just say I appreciate the discussion that the board committee had regarding the guiding principles. I think that is an important piece of the puzzle, that when we enter these types of discussions on class rank or something else, that we determine some guiding principles as a board before we pursue that endeavor. So I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Our monthly financial report, including the bond report and the monthly investment report. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Madam President. We do have the unaudited year-end financial statement for the board's consideration. I would encourage the board to be aware that these are unaudited numbers. They will change somewhat significantly once all the audit adjustments are in. As you may know, generally accepted accounting principles require that governmental entities consider transactions really within a 60-day window after year-end and make some accruals for those. We're still in that 60-day window, and so these are not final by any means. We have accounts payable to recognize. We know we're missing the August transportation billings from these numbers. And we also are required to accrue tax collections during that 60-day period. So these numbers will change. They are unaudited at this point, and they're the best we have at this point. But they do show that we've added $10.9 million to fund balance for the 12-month period in the general fund, and again, they will change. So when you see the auditor statements in December, just be aware they will look somewhat different from these. The other thing that's noteworthy, two other things. If you page on down in the reports that are in board book, you will see that we have our first report of the 2017 bond authorization. As you recall, we did have a bond sale in the month of July that was funded in August, and so from August 8th to the end of the month, we earned $133,000 in interest on the bond proceeds. Haven't spent anything yet, but this is the first report, and we look forward to keeping the board informed on how those funds are utilized over the course of the bond projects. And then right below that is the first month's investment report from our new investment advisory firm, TCG Advisors. And they really began their work on September 1st for us, but they, in collaboration with the outgoing financial advisor, they did prepare the year-end investment report. So with those highlights, Madam President, I'd be happy to entertain any questions the board might have about this report.
Thank you, Mr. Ball, and I love the graphs and the charts. That was very, very helpful, and I appreciate that. Does anyone have any questions?
I do.
Mr. Miller?
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's some good visuals on how to present this. Mr. Ball, I was just struggling to find the INS fund balance under the three funds that we have to report. I see the investment report on the $202 million, but we're just looking at the funds available in the INS account minus those funds, those proceeds.
That's a great question. If you look on the same page that has the general fund on it, and I'm sorry, these are not numbered. We probably need to work on that. But the debt service is the third fund down from that, from the general fund is first, then the child nutrition fund. The debt service shows that we've added $13.7 million for the fiscal year. What this report does not show the ending fund balance, but we began the year with about $27 million in fund balance, if my memory is correct, and adding this 13.7 would put us somewhere close to $40 million at the end of August.
Got it. I was thinking 27, 29 based on our budget workshop, but that's, yeah.
I believe that's correct.
Yeah,
yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great question.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Ball. I think you're up again. Discussion of a potential bond refunding opportunity, including an order authorizing the issuance of unlimited tax refunding bonds, Series 2018, establishing a calendar of events, establish sale perimeters, authorizing the execution of a bond purchase agreement and an escrow agreement, approving an official statement, and enacting other provisions relating to the subject. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Madam President. We have Mr. John Martin here with Hilltop Securities, and while he's making his way to the microphone, I'll give you a little background on this. We, because of some changes in the short-term interest rate market, which Mr. Martin will elaborate further on, this refunding opportunity has presented a savings opportunity to us. And as you recall, at the time the board was authorizing the July pricing and closing in August of the $202 million sale, we talked about the fact that we needed to establish some guidelines and parameters for our underwriting teams and how we determine the types of sales. And we, at that time, we were thinking that the next refunding opportunity would be late spring of next year. So we've really not even begun that process, much less completed it. So we are committed to continuing that process, with the goal being to have those standards in place when the next refunding becomes available in late spring. This one is somewhat unexpected because of the developments in the interest rate market. We did have a finance committee meeting on Saturday, October the 7th. Really, we took a break from the TASB convention and had a lunch meeting during that weekend. And so hopefully that gives the board kind of a background on it, and then Mr. Martin can pick up the ball and run with it from there.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. And is that the reason we're moving this up in the timeline? The discussion?
Well, this is an opportunity that became available because of changes in the interest rate market that we were not anticipating back in June, July when we were discussing the new money sale, if you will. This is a refinancing or a refunding, as it's called in the municipal markets.
Okay. And also, Ms. Timish, Ms. Sells, and myself serve on the Finance Committee, so would you like to give any comments, any of you, for any questions? Okay, Ms. Prosnick?
I want to know if a competitive sale was discussed.
We did discuss that in the committee meeting, probably at some length. And as I mentioned in an email this afternoon, we didn't have a administrative assistant there taking minutes, so I went to the first opportunity I had to get to a computer and do the minutes based on my recollection of them. But we had an extensive discussion about competitive sale versus a negotiated sale, and the thing that makes this particular transaction appropriate, we believe, for a negotiated sale is the fact that in this advance refunding, there's a need to purchase securities to go into an irrevocable trust to be available in the exact amount needed to retire the refunded or the called bonds on their call date. And so that introduces a bit of complexity to the transaction that isn't present in the new money sale, which we did during the summer on a competitive basis. So we do believe there are times when the competitive sale may provide the best value to the district. In this particular instance, we believe that a negotiated sale would provide better value to the district.
And then I know you looked at the firms who did the most in the state, but was there any other kind of a vetting process for the firms that you all chose for the negotiating sale?
We didn't really discuss a vetting process. More of the process was discussed of, do we want to do this? Is this something we're interested in? That process is going to come later, at a later time.
But the firms have already been chosen.
The firms would be chosen by the board at the November meeting.
Okay.
The recommendation on the table is that we stay with the same team that we've had. The district has used really 5 firms in the recent past, dating back to before the current administration had the positions we hold today. The 5th firm is Piper Jaffray. So the 4 firms that are being currently recommended and Piper Jaffray are the firms that the district has used on a rotating basis, depending on the size of the transaction. Piper Jaffray has not been used in the very recent past, but the 5 firms of Raymond James, RBC Capital, BOK Financial, Wells Fargo, and Piper Jaffray have been used for a number of years by the district, simply because they are consistently in the top 10 firms in terms of a volume of transactions in the Texas school district bond market. The other thing that these firms have is that they are all very well capitalized firms, and in a transaction like we're talking about, really any of the transactions, we need firms that have capital and are willing to bring that capital to bear on the transaction, so that if for whatever reason the orders are lacking, the firms with capital are willing to step up and buy the securities that we're issuing to make the transaction work. And those 5 firms that the district has used over the last several years all are very well capitalized firms that have the ability and the willingness to step up and make those transactions work. And that's really, none of us at the table today really selected these firms or brought these firms to the district. They're firms that have a long-standing relationship with the district because of their consistent ranking and their capitalization and their willingness to use their capital to affect the transaction.
Miller?
I was having a hard time finding out the number that we're refinancing. How much money are we talking about?
And John will talk about that. We've got a schedule that he'll go over with you.
There was a sideways page in what Mike had put in there that's the debt service schedule with tons of numbers on them.
Right.
So if you look at the footnote, Mr. Miller, that says refunded payments include the following bonds, and so those are the 3 issues. Those are the principal amounts being refunded of those 3 issues. To follow up on one thing that Mr. Ball mentioned as to how this has come about is if you look at the the redemption dates on those series of bonds, they're out to 2020 and 2022, which is very unusual for a deal like that to make economic sense. And what's happened is we've had a little bit of a spike in the yield curve, and that with the Fed raising short-term interest rates, that long-term rates have not really moved up, but the short-term rates have. Well, you heard Mr. Ball speak of the escrow that needs to be purchased to be able to fund out to those 2020 and 2022 dates. That's what drives the deal, is that escrow, and the best price we can get on that escrow is the less bonds have to be issued and the more savings to the taxpayers. So that's what's making the deal work. Just wanted to point that out, is these are longer call dates than refunding call dates. Usually we go maybe a year or two out, or just wait until it's a current refunding. And that's what we thought we were going to be looking at in the spring. Maybe there was $30 or $40 million refunding to do, and at that point, if you already first knew more money, we could combine it at that time. But we at least knew that there was probably a refunding there. We just didn't expect these bonds to be available now.
And if I might interrupt Mr. Martin to compliment him a little bit, this is one of the things where he brings value to the district, in that this was a transaction we were not anticipating during the summer months, but because Mr. Martin and his firm are constantly monitoring the interest rate market and the opportunities that the district has to save by these types of transactions, this brings $5.5 million in savings to the district that we really were not anticipating when we were planning on what the next year might look like in terms of bond refunding opportunities. So I just want to publicly compliment Mr. Martin on his work by keeping his finger on the pulse of the markets and making us aware of opportunities for savings that exist.
Yeah. And I appreciate that. And Mr. Martin, John, I hope you take this with the intent. I mean, your company will make money off this refinancing. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, while I appreciate you are in touch with the market, and I do think, in all honesty, you do take care of us, right? There is an interest that your firm has. I mean, of the top 10, your firm also does a lot of transactions. And I think that you've served us well. I just want to be clear. This is not a charity, right? Your company makes money, and we just have to be honest about that. I'm just struggling with, before we vote next month, on the synchronization of one issue. We continue to hear the sense of urgency. We needed to sell our bonds this summer. The market's going to change. Long-term interest rates are going to go up. And yet none of that has really materialized since I've been a trustee, those cautions about why we need to move quickly on things. And I feel here we're moving quickly for some reasons, quite frankly, that I know they sound good to a financial. I can't articulate back to a taxpayer why I'm going to support this transaction. I mean, the escrow and all those other things. I got to tell you, I can't articulate why it's a good decision. So I have to go on trust, and it's not that trust doesn't exist. But let me go to another issue. I will have a lot of questions before I would vote on this. I'm still struggling with one of the things that came up is one of the firms that is a recommended firm in the syndicate, right, has dealt with some corruption recently. And corruption is a leadership issue. It's not an organizational or functional department issue. And I think we've got to ask ourselves, when's the last time we've vetted the syndicate and made sure that the companies are the companies that we as a board want to do business with, because this is not a competitive bid. So this is a situation where Hilltop and perhaps our staff will make a decision of the allocation of the bonds and who will finance them. Is that correct?
Let me be real clear. It's the board's decision.
It is the board's decision, but the recommendation will come from you all, right?
We'll make a recommendation if we're asked. I mean, what we provided here in this information is simply to give you an idea that
right.
who is, in our opinion, qualified.
Right.
And that's what is extremely important. You know, if you were to ask me, hey, we want to use these several firms, and to ask me, do you think they're qualified and do a good job? Yes, I will respond to that. But it's this, we're happy to make recommendations if asked. But make no mistake about it, it is the board's decision. The selection of underwriter is the board's decision.
Yes, and appreciate it. I think that's kind of my fundamental.
We're happy to assist you and give you all the information that we can, because we have that information much more readily available than you all do, and we're happy to give that to you.
Right.
Mr. Miller, if I might interject, that the recommendation on the underwriting team is coming from me with advice from Mr. Miller. So, I'm sorry, from Mr. Martin. So the recommendation is a staff recommendation with lots of input from Mr. Martin and his firm. So don't want him to be put on the spot about that because the recommendation is coming from us internally.
And I think that, and I appreciate that, Mr. Ball. And so here we're looking at 25, 30, about $53 million of allocation of participation in our debt service. That is a material thing. So I guess for me, I would just like to understand the last time we vetted and how we vetted the syndicate, because this is different than a competitive bid, and we chose to take the recommendation of staff to go out with a competitive bid. Now, I understand that. I mean, I hear the words of why we have to do it this way. I don't understand all that, why you have to buy this and that type of thing. I guess my fundamental thing here is that these might be great firms, but somebody needs to kind of talk us through that. We haven't talked through that in a long time. And this is such a material thing that, when we did the competitive bid this summer with $202 million at stake, it was bring your best game to the table. And all these companies that we do business with have to be collateralized. I mean, they're not in the game if they're not collateralized. So I think that's a ticket to the game, but it doesn't mean that they're going to get business. The syndicate is something that we are basically saying, you're going to get this percent, that percent. And we have to be comfortable that we've gone through a process with a new administration of vetting those companies. Now, if the finance committee has met with those companies and has looked at those companies and audited, or looked at how we select them, I think that's good for us to hear at the next meeting. But, until we get that, we're still kind of pivoting from the firms that we've used historically and not seeing what the current vetting is. So it either comes down to we either just take the recommendation from staff or we ask for some more thorough presentation on these companies. I do appreciate and by the way, I don't have a problem that your company also sells securities. That's not the issue. They are in the top 10, I think or 9 actually, and in transactions in Texas. But we are dealing with companies that.
That's not our. Please, because we got to be real careful there. That is not our role for LISD.
No, I know that.
We are your financial advisor. We cannot wear both hats.
I think it's
very important.
Yes, and I think that's an important clarification. That you are not selling securities,
right?
But you show up on a list that's been presented to the public. So that's an important distinction that you are playing that role. We do not buy securities from Hilltop, correct?
Correct.
Right. And so, and I want to reiterate, you have served us well personally and your company, right? My fundamental caution here is that we have and should always be vetting the best firms to do business with. This syndicate is the same syndicate that's been around for us for a long time, with one addition. It may be that they're great. So I guess I would defer to the committee to kind of provide validation that we've gone through that.
I think that was discussed at our meeting. We've talked about moving forward. We asked and received indication on firms that we're aware of that were in the competitive bid that came where near close. And so we've asked, and I believe that moving forward, the committee at least will set forward a standardization on how we're going to choose those firms. I think that we as LISD, we don't deserve the best, we expect the best. And so we had that discussion, and I think that moving forward, just like he said, though, this was not something that we anticipated. And so we needed to make a decision. We were all extremely busy. We were at TASB, away from our families. We took time out of that to meet, to bring this forward, and it wasn't without thought, FYI.
Thank you, Ms. Sells, and I absolutely appreciate that, and I agree with you. We deserve and expect the best. I guess I'm just still struggling with why there's such a strong, anytime that something's changed and we're rushing to have a meeting on a Saturday, which committees never have met on, and we've got to do something, I'm just a bit cautious, honestly. And this does not have to do with some of the back channel stuff that's going on. This has to do fundamentally with what is wrong with taking another month for the board to really understand why we're doing this. I mean, so that we can, what?
So, Mr. Martin, can you explain the timeliness of this situation and why it's different than other sales? And the other thing is, I mean, it's pretty clear, I mean, to me when I'm looking at, I mean, we're not extending the period of the bonds as far as the term, and we're saving taxpayers $5.5 million. I mean,
that's essentially the bottom line. The reason for the timeliness, and Mr. Miller, just to kind of go back to the new money, the first series of the May authorization, right? The reason that came quick was to because of the end of the fiscal year, and then to be able to get the levy into the 17-18 tax levy for that, to take advantage of that. We had a very large issue that this past year we had a very nice jump in our tax values. We were able to get this in at well below what we promised the voters. So that was the reason to get that done, and it was a new money issue where we didn't have another transaction on the other side of the bonds. It was going into a project fund account. You all still haven't spent, so it's remaining invested. So that's very different than this that has to come timely, and you're trying to hit market timing. That's it. The market may, by the time we get to selling bonds the first week of December, Mr. Miller may not be there for this deal. It may be better. We don't know. So that's why we do these, and that's why the states, in their infinite wisdom, have allowed us to do these as a parameter sale where we get authorization, and you all are saying, please move forward so long as it meets A, B, C, and D, which we'll discuss next month, hopefully. And you all drive those parameters, and then once those are, if they're met, then we get a sign off from Dr. Rogers or Mr. Ball. But the urgency, the sense of urgency, really is to try to hit this market that is there for us now, and hope that it's still there. It may be there a year from now. My crystal ball is not very good in terms of trying to chase the market. I tend to lose when I chase. So I know that it's a bird in the hand, and it's a lot of money to save the taxpayers.
Yeah, thank you. This is my last question on this topic. And I hope I made a point here, but did we consider a pay down? So if you look at our of the $28.7 to $29 million, if we take out of that INS money the proceeds of the last bond, and we take out unencumbered funds from the 2008 package, did we consider any form of pay down on this, essentially refinancing to save the taxpayers even more money?
I can speak to that. Yes, we did. And Mr. Ball, may I speak to this, Mike?
Absolutely.
We talked about that, and there's another series out there that's a refunding of a refunding. You can't do it more than that. So those are bonds that are some old 07 bonds, 07 bonds that are not callable, or maybe 08 bonds too, that are not callable until August of next year. And we can't refund them any time before then, but we can refund them 90 days before. And those are coming up, and they're 5% bonds. They're going to be there, and there's about $30 million there to do. The only way to do that right now would be on a taxable basis. It makes sense to just let the calendar roll to get to May rather than wait 4 months to do it. At that point in time, since there's no escrow involved really, we're just redeeming those bonds a couple months. That's what we're going to use that cash for, in the surplus in the INS. I think that's what we're referring to, the surplus money in the INS. Yeah. So,
I think we have the opportunity to do both, Mr. Miller. We have the opportunity to save the $5.5 million now, assuming that rates stay at their present relationship between now and the pricing date. As you pointed out a few minutes ago when we reviewed the financial statements, we do have some fund balance in the debt service fund that could be available to use during these refunding transactions that we've really known about since early summer, that we believe the rates are so high, if you will, on those that there's not a whole lot of probability that that the market will move so that those opportunities will be out of the money, so to speak, in May. But this is an opportunity that we're not sure if the opportunity will continue to be there. It may, but it may not be. And what's really happened right now is the short-term rates have gone up, and typically what happens when the short-term rates go up, the long-term rates follow, and they tend to increase. That's why it's called a yield curve, because there's a relationship. The watermark tends to rise all the way across the yield curve. That has not happened in this scenario, and what we don't know is how long is that abnormal relationship going to remain, and that abnormality in the yield curve is what's making this transaction an opportunity for us right now to save the $5.5 million, which is a little bit over a penny on our tax rate, spread out over the remainder of the payback period, as Dr. Rogers said, without extending that. So I think what's before us is the opportunity potentially to save the $5.5 million and to pay down some principal in the spring when we have another refunding opportunity that we've been aware of since early summer.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm going to close with this, Ms. Cox, I promise. So that there's no confusion, I want to clarify a couple things. One is I appreciate that we are thinking about doing that. We've not really done any pay down of refinance debt in the last few years. So I think it's important that we consider that with excess funds that we have. Meaning surplus funds. Second thing is I want to reiterate, Mr. Martin, that you personally and your firm have done an outstanding job for us. I don't want anybody to walk away with anything different from that.
Thank you, sir.
It's very important that you take away that I really do believe that you take care of us. It's your community too.
That's right.
Right? And so, and I know that Mr. Ball, you and your staff are always putting forward great options for us. These are complex things as trustees that under the statutes we're required to vote on that have nothing to do with those four things I talked about earlier except for taxpayer accountability. And yet they're very difficult for us to articulate back to voters on why we support them outside of trusting our staff, which we do. But you know what? My wife and I trust each other. She challenged me sometimes on how I spend money. Right, and so it's an important relationship, and I appreciate the thoroughness, and I'm glad. Thank you guys for getting together on a Saturday. That was enough to go to those classes, some of which weren't as exciting as others, but thanks for doing that.
Ms. Hassett.
I just wanted to thank Mr. Ball and staff and Mr. Martin. I desperately love when we can save money like this, and I know we had this discussion when we were talking about taxes and tax rates earlier. So I'm really, really excited. I think this is actually another way that you're responding to the board's desires, because you've heard us requesting or refunding in the past, so I really appreciate it. And I also appreciate, because I did have some questions on the 2012A and 2013. You explained all those before I even had to ask, so thank you very much for that. And I think for the Saturday, it was just the fact that Mr. Ball was willing to give up his lunch because they were happening to be there, and I think it was a very nice thing for them to do, because I really appreciate that we're expediting this so we can save that money, so thanks so much.
And Board, I want to be clear, we have heard about and heard clear that, and actually the Board Finance Committee, we talked about that, the vetting of financial advisors. We certainly understand that, and we will do that. Underwriters, I'm sorry, sorry, John. Underwriters. And so we will certainly do that sometime before we hit this again in the future. So I can assure you of that. But because of the timing, the short-term rates, that's really what prompted us to have this meeting on a Saturday and try to be ready for this.
One thing I wanted to point out in your packets that Mr. Ball provided a schedule of events that I prepared. After further review and talking to bond counsel and talking to some of our sales and trading guys in terms of timing and so forth, they felt like that if we can get this into the 2017 calendar year, in other words, having the trade date when the investor buys the bonds and a settlement date within the same calendar year, that's beneficial to them and may provide us better bids, possibly. Might bring some others into the market that didn't want to carry over into the new year. So we're proposing that we'll move that January 4th date to last week of December. So while we're getting ready to celebrate New Year's and working off our Christmas dinner.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, what that will do to the agenda, if you notice in the agenda, it talks about Series 2018. That will move that next month to where it will say Series 2017. 17A, I believe it will be.
So that's all. It won't affect the numbers really in terms of the savings.
So what does that mean? January 4th moves to the 30th?
December 29,
27th
28,
is
29, something like that.
Right after the Hilltop notify all parties closing. So
Yeah,
right after
we'll
that.
flip those. We'll
just for
move
a
that
couple
up
days.
just a little bit more, a few days up. That's all. Everything else stays the same. It's just those last 2 dates. We'll move up a little quicker.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Martin. We
Thank you.
appreciate all you do.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, next we have an action item. Consider approval of Hedrick Elementary School TEA improvement requirement, target elements of campus improvement plan. Is this really you, Dr. Rapp? Okay, it's you. Thank you.
Sorry, not trying to pull a switcheroo on you. So, yes, we're required, one of the first steps we have to do with Hedrick Elementary, since they were labeled improvement required by the Texas Education Agency, is to complete what's called targeted elements for the areas of their campus improvement plan that they've identified to work on. I'm pleased to share that through the work of the many people who were in the action item write-up, we clocked in the briefest phone call with the Texas Education Agency that our advisor had in all the schools that she's supporting, because she said the work was so thorough with the plan that you saw submitted to you. And on the heels of the success we had at Central Elementary with our focus on literacy and reading and writing, we're pleased to also utilize that knowledge in the way that we develop these Hedrick targeted elements as well. So we'll be focusing on reading and writing, and we've been able to use the Curriculum and Programs Committee to be able to have discussions about both the requirements that we're obligated to do from the agency in meeting improvement required, as well as take a look at these areas in advance so they can ask questions and provide feedback also.
Anyone have any questions for Dr. Rapp? Ms. Prosnick?
I just wanted to say, as a member of that committee, I too, like TA, was very impressed with the work, and that this plan focuses on adult behaviors and not student. That we aren't requiring of the student to change, or requiring of the teacher and the community to change. And so I really appreciated that focus. I also want to say that I appreciate the fact that written feedback sheets were sent home with every single student. That is not a requirement of TEA. But every single student went home with the opportunity for the adult in that household to share their thoughts. And we certainly received some in Spanish and Burmese that were translated as well. So I appreciate the fact that we don't just say that we believe that education is a shared responsibility. We actually sent out forms, if you will, to reiterate that is really a value of ours. So really great work.
Mr. Miller?
I've been trying to figure out how to throw this in under the agenda all night long, and so I'm going to do it here. Dr. Rapp, Ms. Gall, Dr. Fitzhugh, Ms. Godby, Ms. Kuckler, Ms. Williamson, Mr. Carver, and the whole BLT, thank you. These are tough, and you know, even though it's adult behaviors, it's still working in a system that's flawed. And I see Dr. Fitzhugh smiling. But the point, I'm going to say this now. Dr. Fitzhugh, I think Ms. Sheffield and I got to see Dr. Fitzhugh inducted into the Marcus Hall of Fame. They call it Hall of Fame or Wall of Fame? on Friday night. She's a Marcus grad. I didn't know that till I saw her and her husband, and she was inducted, so congratulations to her. We love getting information, data from Sarah, and she loves giving it to us. So as Ms. Hassett's down there smiling. But this is always tough for us, and this is great stuff that you guys are kind of getting a rhythm on how to deal with this, and hopefully to a point that Ms. Sells made earlier, where we expect the best. We have the best, and therefore we know how to do it better than the state, and don't really like them telling us how to do things. And so thanks for continuing to set that bar so we can confidently in front of the legislature say we know how to do it.
Else? All right, would someone like to make a motion?
I move to approve the TEA required targeted elements for the Hedrick Elementary School as presented by administration.
Motion by Ms. Sheffield. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Prosnick. All in favor? 7-0. Motion carries. Okay, consider approval of class size waiver. Dr. Bonner.
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Cox, board members, we're bringing to you tonight our annual recommendation for a small handful of classroom waivers. You'll see on the list there that we have 4 campuses that have a total of 6 classrooms that are at 23-1 as opposed to the state mandated K through 4th grade 22-1 student-teacher ratio. So we'd ask that these be considered and approved. Pending your approval this evening, next up would be notification to parents within 30 days. I will tell you it will not take us that long given the time of the year, which would look like a letter out to students in the impacted classes.
Thank you, Dr. Bonner. Are there any questions?
I'm
Miller?
not trying to talk at every item, but I just want to reiterate this point. This is indicative of, this is a direct result of, and Ms. Sheffield and Ms. Cox and Ms. Hassett and I sat here in 2014 when we had the 60-plus class size waivers. And we made a decision at that time, and then there was an opportunity. Dr. Rogers and our interim, even when he was COO, started talking to us about how we have a more positive impact on classroom sizes, which means investing in teachers and not reducing teachers when we see some shifts. And the result, 2 years in a row, is 4. And so thanks to our finance staff that we could do this, thanks to our campuses, thanks to Dr. Rogers that we could do it. I think this is a story that has to continue to be told. This doesn't just happen. It's a result of investment and thoughtfulness in how we go about taking care of our kids. So Dr. Bonner, Dr. Coburn, Dr. Rapp, and those that have helped you around this, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Any other questions? Or do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve the class size waiver as recommended by administration.
That's a motion by Ms. Hassett. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Miller. All in favor? 7-0. Motion carries. Consider approval of DIR STD 1951 Microsoft Windows computer refresh. Mr. Colbeck.
Thank you, Madam President, rest of the board. What we have is basically a refresh for some of our current Windows computers. What we have is a lot of Windows computers that are 5 years old or going to be older. We have over 6,500 of them that fit in that category. So this is really a stripped down request to purchase just what we feel we absolutely need. This is a topic that was discussed at the last Board Technology Committee as well. And what we're looking to do is replace 465 of the over 6,000 computers that need to be replaced. And the reason for that is essentially we know we have a need, but we're also in the process of our device evaluation. So what we're looking to do is, or I guess what we did is we looked at our current inventory and we looked at various areas that we feel are not going to be impacted by the results of the device evaluation, where we know equipment needs to be replaced now. It's being used every day. So, and those areas would be our areas for technology applications, career and tech ed courses, cafeteria, administrative offices. And another component is the scale of whatever outcome comes out of device evaluation, and when we're going to actually get to the point of implementing, it's going to take a lot of hands on deck. So we see this as a project that we can take on right now, staff. So we're hoping that we can get this in and start balancing some of the work throughout the year, so we're not also trying to do this particular project when we do a larger refresh. Our current refresh cycle for computers is 5 years, and we're hoping that with this refresh we can get the computers that are aged and used every day replaced very soon. What we did is we did a request for quote that was sent out to secure best pricing. We had 4 DIR-approved Dell resellers provide us 5 different quotes. The funds for this project are coming from the actual 2008 bond monies, and as Mr. Ball said in the monthly budget report, currently there was, I think, right around $955,000 in that unencumbered amount. So there's money in that account to fund this purchase. So with that, we're recommending that the board approve the purchase of 465 Windows computers through Dell Marketing, contract number DIR SDD 1951, to be paid from the unencumbered technology funds from the 2008 bond program, not to exceed $426,825. So with that, any questions? I'd be certainly willing to answer.
This was also a committee item, so who serves on that committee? Mr. Miller, Ms. Sheffield, Ms. Hassett,
Ms. Sells.
Ms. Sells. Do any of you want to comment to the item, or?
Yeah, actually, Ms. Sheffield and I served on it together, and this kind of started back earlier, and so that's why I was kind of pointing to you, because you're aware of it. We've got to do this, right? I mean, even in the device selection, no matter what the outcome is, we are not going to be an environment where we're all Apple, we're all Dell, we're all Microsoft, we're all Android. It's not the real world, right? And so we need to do this. The timing is right. I think we've vetted it. I will tell you, this committee, all of our committees are great. This committee is very well run, very efficient, very deliberate in their intent and the recommendations. And so the bids are solid. The amount of money is solid. I think one thing that has come up is this continued discussion around should we lease or should we buy. In 2014, we as a board, the same members that were here, we looked at this. I think, our procurement team was under pressure from us to look at options. We leased some devices. It's not what people think it is. The best use of this capital that's sitting in that unencumbered, or the encumbered for IT, is to do what we're doing today. These devices, especially if many of you recall, a year or two ago, we had a lot of devices that were not protected, that were Microsoft devices. We had to physically upgrade the hardware because the software wouldn't support it. So this is just a natural extension. This has been vetted very well, and I'm obviously for it.
Anyone else? I actually have 2 questions, Mr. Colbeck. First question is there a reason that we can't wait until the device refresh to know the systems? And my second question was, would we not have better buying power if we bought them in the refresh for a larger purchase?
I think the potential to have more buying power would be there. That said, with the devices that we're evaluating, all of them have a keyboard option. So when I look at, and we discuss what our current inventory is, part of the question is, do we have some of the inventory in that area because, let's say, an iPad didn't have a keyboard, or we were using it for data entry? So I think one of the essential questions we're trying to get answered through the device evaluation process is, assuming device A, B, C, D, what are you not able to do with that device, and do we truly need to buy these? And I would say it's a very conservative approach to try to exhaust that question before we go ahead and move forward. That said, I also know that we're getting some feedback from campuses and teachers that the equipment that they have, it's slow and it's aging, which it is. But certainly once we get to that point where we know what platform we're using and what we need to support around, let's say what we're doing with our one-to-one, we will look to make the much larger purchase of the remaining devices. This is what I would call the most emergency devices that we have that we feel we need to replace right now. So hopefully I answered your question.
Thank you. Ms. Hassett.
One thing that Mr. Colbeck said was that they have some time to do it now, and that's what he told us in the committee, is that they have time to do it now, whereas when we have the device evaluation, they'll be so busy with the entire device evaluation that it does make sense to go ahead and chunk this out for the most urgent needs so that they have time to fully invest in the device evaluation when complete.
Yep.
Mr. Miller?
You have another question, though?
No, that was
Okay, so I just, not to pile on, but I think it's a great question. So, and we did talk about this. So we've reduced it to 300, right? So kind of getting the bare minimum right now. The fact is, even if we have the buying power in 6 months, the amount that we'd save on these devices probably isn't a lot because of the vendors we're buying from. I mean, the pricing doesn't change that much in a volume purchase agreement, believe it or not, especially when we're talking about Dell, because we probably have some to some degree pretty strong buying power with them. But I think to your point, we would have more buying power later. Most of these devices, however, let's just say that decision went a certain way with a certain supplier or certain vendor brand, these devices need to be replaced with these types of Windows-based devices. And so the device selection would do nothing more than get buying power versus change the types of products we need to buy, if that makes sense. Okay.
Other questions?
I just would like to clarify that the quantity on there was 465. Just want to clarify. Okay.
I said 300.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, no other questions. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I move to approve the purchase of 465 Windows devices through Dell Marketing LP, utilizing DIR contract number DIR SDD 1951 to be paid from unencumbered technology funds from the 2008 bond program in an amount not to exceed $426,825 as recommended by administration.
Motion by Ms. Sells. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Hassett. All in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, consider approval of access license agreement with Friendship Baptist Church for driveway at the Colony High School campus. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Madam President. This is a proposed renewal of an agreement that's been in place with the Friendship Baptist Church, which is pretty much due west of the Colony High School's campus. And it's a little piece of driveway that the church actually paid the paving for, and the district has had a 10-year agreement with them to pay $2,400 per year as an access license agreement for that property. And rather than renew a 10-year agreement, the recommendation is to approve this on a year-by-year basis, given the fact that there is some significant construction planned in the next few years at the Colony High School site, and we've not yet done some of the site planning that would be needed in accordance with that work to really achieve the maximum efficiency there. So there is some possibility that this little strip of driveway a need could arise for it to be utilized in some other manner, and we would certainly want to treat the church appropriately and give them plenty of notice, and if that were to be the case. And so the recommendation is that we renew the contract on a year-by-year basis with a 30-day out clause by either party. And in the case, all of the rent's due in one annual payment, or the license fee is due in one annual payment, there would be a pro rata refund in the event either party were to exercise the out clause. So it's our recommendation that this contract be approved.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Any questions? We have a motion.
I move to approve the access license agreement with Friendship Baptist Church for driveway at the Colony High School campus as recommended by administration.
Motion by Ms. Timish. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Prosnick. All in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Consider approval of an architect's selection for STEM Academy renovations. Mr. Ball.
Thank you, Ms. Cox. This item is a request for the board to appoint an architect to do the fairly minor changes that would be needed at the two elementary campuses that have been identified as STEM academies. That would be Donald Elementary and Polzer Elementary. And if the board will recall, a few months ago, the Polzer Elementary is on the list of 20-year renovation campuses, and the board assigned that work to Huckabee Architects. So our thinking is that since we would want the work related to the STEM Academy to be fairly similar at the two campuses, that it makes sense to recommend that Huckabee be assigned the work for both Donald and Polzer in terms of the STEM Academy. And hopefully there will be some cost savings achieved by incorporating the STEM work into the 20-year renovation at the Polzer campus. So it's our recommendation that Huckabee be appointed for this work.
Thank you, Mr. Ball. Any questions for Mr. Ball? Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the selection of Huckabee as the architect for the Donald Elementary and Polzer Elementary School STEM Academy renovations and the expenditures associated with their design fee as recommended by administration.
We have a motion by Ms. Sheffield. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Timish. All in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Consider approval of boundary alignments of Hills of Kingswood, Austin Waters areas to Arbor Creek Middle School. Dr. Rogers.
Okay, finally, we're going to get this fixed. So, as promised at our September board workshop, we showed you the boundary alignments and the verbiage. So we would ask that the board approve these changes to make it official.
Are there any questions?
I just want to state that no children are being moved in this, that they are where they were, just codifying what has been done.
That's absolutely correct. Thank you for bringing that up.
Any questions?
Oh. I can't get to the thing.
Ms. Sells?
It looks like that the one map was not corrected. Could we make, or was it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you done.
Boundary correct. Yes. The old. It's good. We're good. Sorry. They did correct it. I was looking at the wrong map. Okay. Thank you.
There's no other questions. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I move to approve the area known as Hills of Kingswood, located west of Hicks Elementary School, presently zoned to Griffin Middle School, be adjusted to Arbor Creek Middle School as recommended by administration.
Motion by Ms. Prosnick. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Sheffield. All in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Do you have a second motion?
I move to approve the area known as Austin Waters, located north of Parker Road, Highway 544, and east of Plano Parkway, which is southwestern portion of Hicks Elementary School, presently attending Killian Middle School, be adjusted to Arbor Creek Middle School as recommended by administration.
Motion by Ms. Prosnick, second by Ms. Sheffield. All in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Consider modification of board operating procedures. This was the item that was pulled, so just reminding everybody. So we're now to our consent items. Are there any items that need to be pulled? Do we have a motion?
I move the board approve the consent agenda items as recommended by administration.
We have a motion by Ms. Timish. Do we have a second? Second by Ms. Hassett. All in favor? 7-0, motion carries. Okay, if there's no further business, the time is now 9:06, and we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming.